What is up, guys? It is the Sportster Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio, part of NGSC Sports, guys. Remember the website, it's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. And, guys, head over to the In the Zone Sports website. It will give you a list of all of the shows that are under the umbrella at In the Zone, including my own, but there's a bunch of other shows. Lewis, one of my co-hosts, has one, and Gerald also has one as well. Both shows and all of the shows that are on that list are all very, very good. I would take a gaze over there and check them out. Guys, hopefully everyone out there, happy Thursday. Hope everyone out there's having a good day. I have not had a great day. I've had family issues come up, but I'm not going to say anything about that now. That's off the air stuff, and that's what's been bothering me today. I had some issues last week too. In fact, last week our show only got 16 views on YouTube, so we all have bad shows. So that was probably one of the ones that we had last week that was bad. But let me bring on two of my co-hosts that come on. Good evening, guys. How we doing?
I didn't think it was bad at all.
Nah, we just got buried by other things.
Oh, all right.
Not according to the.
And no, we got killed by the algorithm last week.
So.
Well.
It happens.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like I said. Gerald was on here last week talking about bad shows. As you can see, we don't all have good ones every week.
Well, mine was pretty bad too. So.
It happens.
Yeah.
How we doing today, guys? Doing good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all right.
If you can take 102 degrees, sure.
Oof.
110 down here, Lou, if you want to come down here.
Bad to worse.
Guys, I have absolutely nearly every topic picked out. Is there a particular one you guys want to start on? Because I have everything
Rocky stacked and ready to rock.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, I've been saving this. Well, we had the theme show last week, and there's some stuff that I didn't put on here that I didn't think were still going to be relative. Making sure that it was all going to be relative. I've got a lot of NFL news, a lot of NCAA football, a lot of golf news. So anything we can talk about MLB coming into the second half of the season, the All-Star game.
Oh, let's start there.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. What was you guys' thoughts on the All-Star game with the extra innings being home run derby? If it got to that far, obviously.
I have nothing against that because I'm not a fan of those long prolonged games where you're going to the 17th inning and whatnot. It's 3:30 a.m. I'm like, would you please let me get some sleep before I throw up or something?
Right.
But I don't know how other fans will react to it. Like, you're gonna do what? You're gonna cheapen the game by going to home run derby. So it depends on who you ask. I wasn't against it.
I don't hate it for an All-Star game.
Yeah, just for an All-Star game though, right?
Yeah, just for an All-Star game. It's the All-Star game is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be serious.
Right.
So I don't really care as long as it stays out of the playoffs. I don't want to ever see a team sport ended in a skills competition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would hope they never would move that to the regular season.
Well, they do it in the minor leagues now.
Are they really? I would hate it in the regular season.
I think it's called the Frontier League. They said, screw the extra innings. We're going to home run derby after this. We're not going to go in with it for 17th, 18th inning. Screw that. We're going to go home.
Yeah. Oh, wow. There you go. Yeah, so you're right. Which is the Frontier League is a college summer league.
Yeah, I thought it was like a semi-pro league, but
it's a pseudo semi-pro league because they're all college kids.
Okay.
So they're getting ready to go back to school here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So they resort to that,
I don't hate it in minor league baseball. or semi-pro or amateur, whatever you want to call it. I'm not as opposed to that. And I don't, and like I said, the All-Star game is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, it's a show. We're putting on a show. So if that's what they want to do, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But and I wouldn't necessarily be against it in a like after 12 innings or 15 innings in a regular season game. But for whereas if you're not a power, if you're not one of the big fly guys, then you're not going to be able to contribute to your team's success.
Okay.
If you're the guy, if they gone, for want of an example, if they had a home run derby be the game deciding event, if you want, and let's say in 03, when in the whatever the 12th, 15th, 18th, whatever hell inning it was that Boone come up and hit that bomb, that doesn't happen. You don't get a moment like that in a home run derby.
No.
Because Aaron Boone isn't getting a chance to bat in a home run derby.
Right.
No, because he wasn't one of the Yankee power hitters, so he would not have had that opportunity, to be up to bat.
And that's kind of where it's the same thing about the shootout. It's like, those guys that are bottom six forwards, guys that don't see a whole hell of a lot of ice time, but you get a chance to be a hero in a playoff game. They get that taken away from them if you go to a skills competition.
True.
And that's why I'm against. That's why I'm against playoff skills competition.
That's why the NHL sticks to their 5-on-5 overtime when it comes to the playoffs.
And I
three. Yeah.
I don't hate that. I think it's good.
The draft just got done.
Yeah. What, 2 days ago?
18. How many rounds is it? 20 rounds? How many rounds do they have in the MLB draft?
I have no idea.
140?
47?
I think it's still going. I think we're at 372 by now. Well, I'll cover that on my show, but I'm not going to do the whole draft. No.
Well, here are midterm reports. Here are midterm reports for all the teams so far.
Okay.
This is from MLB.com. So we'll start with the American League East. The Blue Jays midterm report is ask again later, because obviously they fired their manager. So there's obviously some stuff going on in Toronto behind the scenes that we don't know. For the Baltimore Orioles, the midterm report, things are looking up. They are not the welcome mat anymore. They're actually a decent baseball team.
Yeah, not the Dirty Birds either.
Yep. For the Rays, also things are looking up. They've had the most injuries in baseball, and they're still 10 games over 500, and they're on top in the American League.
They got a good farm system.
Yep, that is correct. For the Red Sox is asked again later. Again, they had a great June, but their July has not been so good, and Chris Sale is injured again. So again, he broke his finger. So now it's going to be up to Chaim Bloom, their general manager, to find what is he going to do at the deadline. Is he going to be a buyer, a seller, or both? We'll see.
Seller.
Yeah.
It just depends.
It depends on how the next month and a half goes.
I was gonna say I thought
New York this time last year. I thought New York was going to be a seller. I thought they were going to sell everything off and start over.
You did,
and they made the playoffs. This next 2 weeks are crucial.
Yes,
and we'll see where we're at in 2 weeks, and that'll really determine whether or not we have buyers or sellers.
Yeah.
For the Yankees, all systems are a go. Of course, they lead the AL East. And right now, I think on ESPN right now, I'm watching the first episode of Cheaters
Yep.
30 or that thing the documentary did about Derek Jeter.
Yes.
It's playing right now on ESPN. So yes, so that is they're all set to go. There's Gerald. Let me bring Gerald on real quick.
How you feeling, brother?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Joe.
For the Guardians, ask again later. Is one of those. I think they are one of those teams that could have been good, but they're not good so far.
Yeah.
For the Royals, there's work to do. That's a team I think is on the rebuild. The Tigers are the same way, work to do.
I don't know how you can't say they're just straight trash because they've been god awful all year.
What else is
And you were right, Lee. Going into the year, you said they were going to be terrible. You were right. Cause,
sorry?
well, I had them on the upswing this as of last, because of how they played in the second half of last year.
Right.
After the All-Star break, they played really, really well. And
Right. It makes sense because you thought maybe that's something to build on from that.
I thought, okay, we're gonna make some moves. We got some nice pieces. Javi Baez, I thought that was a great signing, and he's been absolutely terrible all year.
Mm-hmm. I know someone else will think of the same way. I'm not gonna mention his name though.
Is it a Cubs fan?
No, he's a Tigers fan, sort of. You know who it is.
The Minnesota Twins are asked again later. They're kind of up. I mean,
they're up and down.
Yeah, they're so down.
Okay, well, that's that for that. So
yeah, I saw him having some problems. He was there, but he wasn't. He wasn't.
Yeah, it was like he was freezing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
like my show last week, my phone went. My signal went dead, and I was trying to the question that you came like, huh? Why So I went to my backup plan, used my phone, and continued from there. So that's
right.
Yeah.
But no,
is Gerald still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank God. Okay. Yeah.
It's just you and me right now.
The Tigers,
Yeah. I thought that they were going to be good. I know I'm not good, but I thought I had this, as a dark horse, outside playoff team. That second wild card spot, and not yet.
No.
Need a long way to go, and I have to win a lot of games to get back to where I thought we were going to be this year.
Yeah. A far cry from 2006. So put it that way.
A far cry from 2013.
That too. Yeah, but 2006 they went to the World Series.
Was it 2012 that they went to the series, or 2013? I think it's 2012.
What happened to Brad?
Brad is indisposed at this moment.
Uh-oh.
We killed him and ate his liver.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He's on a slow life boat to China.
Yeah.
He's on what?
He's on a slow life boat to China.
Very slow.
How you doing, then, Gerald?
Pretty good. That's why I disappeared too just a while ago.
I hear you. Yeah. I was doing other things today. How's your show?
It was better than last week.
Yes, it was.
Good. That's good.
Well, of course, last week I was feeling like crap.
Yeah, that never helps.
Right, yes.
I've been there where you're feeling terrible and you're just trying to power through it.
Last week I was running on limited sleep.
Yeah.
My knee was bothering me, and I'm just like, I was just sitting there like,
Sounds like a bad night of sex I had with my ex.
That's and I don't care who you are. You could be the best broadcaster in the world, and you're feeling like crap. It's going to bring you down.
Sure, it's going to make you feel awful.
Mm-hmm.
But you still want to bring the best to your fans and the people that watch it.
Thankfully, I haven't been sick since I started doing this. Thankfully. Okay, he's back.
Hey, how was that horse? Was it okay?
And they called him Mr. Red.
Brad didn't get the joke behind that.
I'm having all kinds of internet issues, guys.
Yeah. So did I last week. Yeah. So Detroit doesn't. But look, you could be worse. You could be the Reds. I mean, because they're still off.
Yeah, no kidding.
Pathetic.
Yeah. Yep. But right now we were talking about that on my show too, Brad. The MLB standings and everything. With this being July and the playoffs start in October, there's a lot of teams that are not going to make it in.
No.
Yeah. I think you gotta say the Yankees, Astros.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Sox? White Sox?
You know what? Let me look it up, and I can give you my picks. Okay, the American League East. Tampa Bay, New York, and Tampa Bay. I'm going to say New York's going to win that one hands down.
Oh yeah, no question.
Minnesota, at the American League Central, Michigan and Cleveland. Minnesota and Cleveland. I got to give that to go either way because Cleveland's only 2.5 games. 2 games behind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's still an open.
That's still very much in play right now.
Yeah.
Very much.
The West, Houston and Seattle. Seattle's only 9.5 games back. That's still an open.
I don't think so. 9.5 with 2 months left, and the way the Stros are playing right now.
Really significant.
Now, National League East, we got the Mets and the Braves. That's still anybody's division.
Watch out for that division. Watch out.
That's still anybody's division because the Braves are only 2.5 games out. And
yeah.
Central, we got Milwaukee and St. Louis, and St. Louis is only half a game out.
I think St. Louis wins the Central.
That's still anybody's division.
Yep.
The West, we got the Dodgers and the Padres.
Really?
And the Padres are only 10 games behind.
Well,
it's kind of same way with the AL West. 10 games is a lot to make up in 2 months.
Yeah,
it is. Definitely it is.
And
so right now I'm going to say New York, Cleveland, Houston.
Yeah. Yep.
The East and the National.
I think
that's a tough decision right there.
I think the Mets get it done.
No, I see Atlanta.
Yeah, I see Atlanta taking it too, so I'm gonna go with Atlanta. And then in the Central, I see the Cards taking that one. And in the West, I see the Dodgers taking it.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers will win the West.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what the
and like I was saying on my show earlier, if the World Series was to start right now, I would take New York. I would take the Yankees and the Braves in the World Series.
I think that'd be a hell of a series.
And it will. I think it will go the full 7 games if that happens.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Guys, where do you think Juan Soto is going to go?
Who?
Juan Soto. What is?
Hmm.
You think he gets dealt?
He turned down a 10 or 15-year, $440 million contract. He wants out of Washington. He doesn't want to be there. So now the question is, where does he go?
I don't blame him for wanting out.
Either do
What
I.
about Philly?
Yeah.
I can see him in St. Louis.
I say he either goes to Philly or maybe St. Louis.
I say the Cardinals.
I say the Cardinals.
Yep.
I think I could see him back in Philly, hook up with Bryce Harper.
I could see him being the successor to
Albert Pujols.
Pujols.
He would have a better time in St. Louis.
Yeah. I see him being, I see him being, replacing Pujols.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah.
Well, the wild cards as it sits right now is Tampa, Seattle, and Toronto, and Atlanta, San Diego, and Philadelphia.
Explain to me how you fire your manager when you have an above 500 record.
I didn't get that. That struck me as odd.
There is something in the water up there.
Well, I know that. I mean, it is awful, but still, that's beside the point.
Just like Arizona giving giving Murray that
Kyler Murphy.
Yeah, giving him that big contract.
What a turd.
I like it.
He ain't worth it.
No.
Yeah, he is.
Really? Murray's worth that kind of money?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right, see that person here. But I don't think he's worth it. But still, to turn down $4 million, you got to be nuts.
If you're not happy, you ain't happy. I mean, it's not like he's not going to be able to get that kind of money from somebody else. And Washington, D.C. they're not close right now.
No.
And if I was him, I'd want out too.
Okay, Adam, I got a question for you.
I got an answer for you, bub.
You heard Jimmy G has got the green light to be traded.
I have heard that, yep.
Good.
Where do you think he's going to go? And I tell you my 3 teams that could possibly pick him up.
Go ahead.
Seattle,
I want to... Okay.
The Giants.
Yep.
Or the Vikings.
Cleveland.
Hey, Cleveland's got Watson.
Well, Watson's going to be suspended.
We don't know. We don't know how long how long he's going to be suspended for.
Yeah, because we haven't heard a decision on that yet, and this is unusual. No. This is unusual for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really late in the game.
He's going to get suspended.
He may not get suspended.
But then again, no.
I do like Minnesota. Minnesota would be a good spot for him.
So would Seattle or New York?
What about Atlanta?
Yeah, Atlanta needs a quarterback.
But Giants need a quarterback as well, desperately.
Giants need a quarterback. The only problem with this, right, is the same thing I said. I've been saying for years. Is what do you have to give up to get him that is going to still allow you to be in a position to make a run? So, like, if let's say New York, the Giants, let's say they give up Saquon Barkley, a second and a third, right? Is that going to be enough to get San Francisco to play ball? I mean,
and also when you give up somebody like Barkley, what does that leave you out with a running back?
Right, and then what do you do with Daniel Jones? What do you? Because you got you got all the money you got to pay him too, and that's the problem with having 2 starting quarterbacks. Is you can't pay a guy $8 million to sit on the bench. So you're gonna have to do how do you offload? And the other thing is, Minnesota is interesting, but what do you do with Kirk Cousins? Where does he?
Well, then again, Kirk Cousins probably got 1 more year left,
maybe,
to play.
But he did sign that huge. But he's commanding like $18 million a year, and you can't have two guys commanding that kind of money sitting on your bench.
But see, that's what I'm saying. He's probably got 1 more year. He's got 1 more year left. Then he's probably going to take this year off to think about his health, his family. Then let's say if Cousins retires, that's going to leave the Vikings without a decent quarterback. And that's when
he signed through this year at $23 million a year, or 35 mil. Sorry, misread it.
$35 million for this year.
Yeah, that's a huge cap hit. And I don't know if you can afford to have Jimmy G on your even to back up, because if Kurt stumbles at all you're gonna hear is them screaming for. I have another interesting landing spot is Miami.
You know, Lou and I had both agreed on this. It would be nice, but I don't see it happening.
Right.
Jimmy G comes over to Dallas and replaces Dak.
It's wishful thinking, but I don't think so.
I'd take Dak over Garoppolo any day of the week and twice
Yeah.
on Sunday.
I wouldn't. Nope.
Hmm.
I'd take Jimmy G over Dak.
Why?
I don't think so.
Why?
Because Jimmy G knows how to win in the playoffs.
Does he? How many playoff games
What?
has Jimmy G won?
He beat Dallas.
Did he?
Yeah.
Or did Dallas just shit the bed?
No.
I think they should the bet.
I mean, Green Bay shit the bed. Green
Yeah.
Bay should have waffle stomped the hell out of
That's right.
San Francisco, and
Sure.
they let it slip. I mean, you got 2 wins last year, and then what did you do in the championship game?
Now
They got absolutely crushed by LA.
Now, if Dallas can get Jimmy G
And-
to come in and be a backup, that would be perfect too. But then
Yeah.
again, like you were saying, Adam, you know,
if Dak
one
stumbles,
thing-
if Dak has any issues, you're gonna tear the lock. You know, you also got to think about tearing the locker room apart. You know, if you say if you have a guy like let's Minnesota, it's got Kirk Cousins, right? I could see that being a possibility because Kurt's got 1 year left on his contract. But if Dallas brings in Jimmy G, okay, what are they giving up to get him? What
Well,
assets do they
if
have
he
to go?
becomes a free agent, they don't have to give up anything to get him.
Right. But if we're talking about this year going into the 2022 season,
Oh, okay.
I'm okay. Were we talking about 2023 or are we talking about 2022? I'm sorry. I was operating under the assumption that you were talking
Well-
about trading going into this year.
I heard that he's got the green light to be traded. They didn't say if it was this year or next
Okay.
year. They didn't
Okay,
give a
I
year.
was operating under the assumption that we were talking about going into this upcoming season. The season's expecting to start in about a month and a half.
Now
So-
they didn't give a time date or a time or
Okay.
date.
a timetable for when he might be traded.
Yeah.
I also think we have to wait and see what happens in preseason. Pittsburgh's a place you got to think about. If Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett don't look good in preseason, they may be enticed to make a move for Garoppolo to stabilize that locker room.
And put
What's
pressure,
Mac Jones? Is
put
Mac Jones
pressure
the
on,
answer? And
and put pressure on Rudolph and Kenny to become better.
Yeah.
what about New England? Is Mac Jones is he the next guy in New England, or is he just a flash in the pan? I have to wait and see about.
I think it's just a hot flash.
We'll have to wait and see about Mac Jones. We'll see where
we
he's
gotta
at.
see about that. I'm not so yet. I don't think it's gonna be a flash in the pan though.
What about Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson, the Jets are an
Uh.
interesting prospect because if Zach Wilson has struggles and Jimmy G comes available after this year, and they're building something nice there in New York,
New York.
he could be a good fit in New York.
I didn't think about the Jets.
And then again, like I said with the Giants, you know, if you can get him in free agency at the end of this year, going into 2023, without having to trade for him, that's always a possibility. Because then you can release Daniel Jones and let him go seek his fortune somewhere else.
What team would pick up a sucky quarterback like Daniel Jones?
I think he can be a decent backup. A guy you can rely on to learn 50. You give him 15 plays. You gotta learn. You know these 15 plays. These are the 15 plays you know by heart. And if we need you, your helmet's right there, and you're ready to go. You go in. You run these 15 plays like your life depended on it. You get 5 wins out of him. You can be a stopgap in case your starter gets hurt.
So you think the problem with Daniel Jones is coaching?
I think the problem with Daniel Jones is he isn't that good. I think he's a great emergency a backup. I think he'd be a great backup quarterback, kind of like a Charlie Batch or a Ty Detmer kind of
Okay.
guy. where you rely on him. He knows 15 or 20 plays by heart. And you send him in there to call those plays. He runs those plays. I think he could be really good. I think a lot of quarterbacks just don't have the arm talent and just to actually to throw into the windows in the NFL. What's open in college?
Tua, he don't have the arm strength.
I think Tua has the I think he has the smarts to be an NFL quarterback. The problem with Tua is that they're trying to make him into this gunslinger, this four verts, throw it deep and throw it up and let somebody go get it. And that's not his bag. He doesn't have the arm talent to throw a ball 40 yards, 50 yards in the air. So stop trying to make him. I said this 2 years ago when they fired Flores. I said you need to find an offense that's tailored to his talent.
Yeah.
But Tua, he's got the leg strength. He can take off and run on you.
He's got the mental thing.
Right.
He just needs an offense tailored around what he does well. And the intermediate short passing game, that extended handoff, that what they were running in the early 2000s in New England.
Yep.
What that West Coast underneath stuff, the stuff that Bill Walsh developed for his original quarterback. His name escapes me, but Sam Weish? Is that his name? I know he was the I cannot remember his name now. Did you get it figured out there, Brad? Are you back?
It's still messed up, man.
Do you have a storm in your area?
It rained earlier today.
That's probably the reason why.
Do you have Comcast?
Nope, I have Spectrum.
Hey, I got Spectrum.
And it's
I got Spectrum.
It's owned by the apartment. I couldn't think about it. Oh, yeah, am I coming through clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh yeah, now clear.
We just can't see you.
Well, I obviously I can't use the camera and be on, so I could talk like this. I'm just gonna not be on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I don't see Jimmy G going to Atlanta either. They drafted Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati.
But
He's going to get starts over Mariota. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that's going to happen. So there's no way Jimmy G is going there because they wouldn't have wasted a pick on Ridder if that was the case.
Right.
But didn't they get him in the 5th round though?
It doesn't matter. They got Tom Brady in the 6th round. Look what happened. I mean, I'm not trying to compare the two.
No, I'm just saying.
We can find good players in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round of a draft.
I think that Ridder deserves an opportunity to play and not have to. But again, if you bring Jimmy G in and he beats out Marcus Mariota, that could be something that the Falcons would be looking at too.
That's what I was. I was thinking as like Gerald was saying, he does have playoff wins. He's got playoff experience. What better way than to put him on, and Desmond Ridder can sit behind him for a couple years and learn from him. And then
be like a mentor.
Yeah, and then if Ridder doesn't pan out, you still have a great option at quarterback.
Yeah.
But I see the number one landing spot for Jimmy G would be Seattle.
Definitely.
Because we all know Drew Luck. He's worse than Sam.
Nobody's worse than him. Nobody's worse than Darnold.
I don't know. I think Tua would be a good fit in Seattle. That's that offense. He reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He just without the arm strength. I mean, he's got everything else and that's why you have to build your offense around what he can do.
Yes.
You need a guy that understands exactly who Tua is and can tailor his offense around the around him.
No, I agree with that. Some other, well, I guess we're talking NFL.
Yeah.
News, I guess that route. The Texans settled 30 lawsuits with the women amid the Sean Watson allegations,
And that makes the Texans look guilty as hell.
Yeah. It's a pretty bad look for the Texans.
So
And there is
You
a
have-
recording that I heard about, but nobody seemed to have it. It's where mother and the son was talking, and one of them says, "Don't worry, everything's going to be fine when I get paid."
nice.
Yeah,
Well, the Raiders led the league last year in ticket revenue,
really.
and the Lions were finished last in ticket revenue.
As
in
they should.
2020.
Yes.
And Dan Snyder's still hiding from Congress.
He's a loser.
That-
Washington. Yeah.
That
What do the
is
Rams
so
do? I
mean.
mean,
But
this is
here's
on
my
the Super
take
Bowl.
on
What do
that
the Rams
Dan
do?
Snyder situation. He's out on a yacht. He's got a helicopter pad. Why don't they just fly somebody out there from Congress and serve him?
Mhm.
Now the FBI can always fly out there too and throw him in handcuffs and bring him back too. So
True.
You see that?
or get the Coast Guard to pick him up.
correct.
Call them all out. Call the Navy, the National Guard, everybody.
Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I heard his yacht is 100 feet long. It can sleep up to 12 guests, and it still have room for him and his family and the crew. And
I found an article, guys, on Fox News about Ricky Williams telling them how
Oh.
NFL players dealt with pain. Let me give you the gist of what he says.
Okay.
Quote from him: "My rookie year, a Hall of Fame player on this team. He is in the Hall of Fame now. Invited me over to his house. He gave me a speech about how to take care of myself in the National Football League. And he pulled out some cannabis, crushed it up, split a blunt, opened it up, put the cannabis in there,
Ugh.
took Vicodin, crushed it up, sprinkled the Vicodin in there, rolled it up, went and passed it to me. This is a vet teaching me as a rookie how to take care of myself in the National Football League." So there you go. Vicodin and marijuana. That's the remedy right there.
Marijuana.
It's a good time. Hmm.
you want
And
to
now Ricky has his own marijuana company, if I'm not mistaken.
and with marijuana and Vicodin, you wouldn't be feeling nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that goes back to kind of what I was saying about talking about last week on your show there, Gerald, is why guys are getting out so young anymore, and why the league changed the way the game was played is because so many guys were getting so terribly hurt.
Mhm.
And the fact that you have 50 you're involved in 50 car crashes, and you got you look at guys in their 40s and 50s that are permanently disabled because of playing football.
Yeah.
And you can call it soft all you want, but
No.
they're doing it for our entertainment, because we like watching them do it and they like doing it. And they're the ones that are out there week in and week out putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment.
Yeah.
And I can name a few of them right now that retired because of that.
Yeah.
Romo,
Mm-hmm. Aikman.
Gronkowski,
Penguin.
Aikman, Emmett Smith, Michael Irving.
Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders, Gale Sayers in the 60s.
Yes.
He retired because it was just it's just and that was back in the day where everything was legal, where the rules were just more like a set of guidelines than
Right.
actual rules. And that's when I take umbrage with people that call football soft. It's like it's not badminton. It's
No.
not Chinese checkers. I mean, just because you can't come across the middle and clothesline somebody or two-hand somebody,
Yeah.
because you can't come off at the top of the pile and drop an elbow on somebody.
Right.
It doesn't make it any less dangerous or tough. I mean, these are still dudes flying around out there with reckless abandon. I mean, look at that was always a knock on his safety played for the Lions, Louis Delmas. That's his name. He was in Bob Sanders, guys like that. They always flew around there with no regard for their own safety. Bob
Bill
Sanders
Gates.
was off hurt. He spent more time on IR than he did on the field because he had no regard for his own safety. And and the fact of the matter was that the NFL, that moms weren't going to let their kids play football anymore if the NFL didn't clean it up.
Right.
And that was what the NFL saw coming, was that that moms weren't going to let their sons play football anymore. And they were going to let them play high school, college. They wouldn't be allowed to play anymore because football was because the professionals were being so reckless and careless with their bodies and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and flagrantly violating the rules with no regard to their own safety or the safety of others. That moms were just going to stop letting their kids play. They weren't going to let their sons go out and play football. They're going to play basketball, play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's the big reason why the NFL started cracking down on what would have been legal 20 years ago is now a foul. Is because parents, mothers, fathers, uncles, grandpas, grandmas, grandma didn't want to see her kid out there on a stretcher. Some 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid, sophomore, junior in high school, paralyzed from the waist down, from playing football, and that's the big reason why the NFL started cracking down and cleaning up the game 15, 20 years ago, because they saw the handwriting on the wall.
I guess, guys, there's been a huge demand for tickets for the game in Munich between the Buccaneers and Seahawks. That's who's playing in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So now the resale value is going through the roof because of the demand for tickets in Germany. That's the first game that will be held. And by the way, guys, I don't have a camera. I'm actually eating ice cream. So if you hear me chewing, I'm eating ice cream right now. So I'm not on camera.
I'm not as surprised at all that those overseas games are in high demand.
Sure.
Doesn't surprise me one bit. It's definitely right now. It's a one-off. Yeah. They don't know if they're coming back in 2023, and into the future. And so if you want to see an NFL game in person and not have to fly halfway around the world, it's all those places within driving distance of Munich are gonna be clamoring for tickets.
All right, guys. Here's the over and under on wins for every team.
Okay.
2022. Right. So you guys can agree or disagree on this. This is going to go in alphabetical order. Right. So I'm going to start with the Cardinals. They're the first team on the list. So for them, according to BleacherReport.com, the over under for them is 8.5 wins this year.
Over.
Gerald?
I'm going to say under.
Under 8.5?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go over.
I think they'll get to 9.
I'm going to say over 8.5. Don't know. Yeah. And Bleacher Report predicts over for them. The Atlanta Falcons are over under 5.
Under.
5 on the dot.
Under.
I would agree with that too.
A lot of faith in the Falcons we got there, eh?
Dirty Birds.
And they don't have Matt Ryan.
No.
Oh, he's in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Baltimore, the over under is 9.5.
I'll take the over.
Under.
Oh boy, that's hard. I'm gonna go under.
I need it to be over because Dobbins is on my fantasy team.
I'm going to say over too. I think they get it straightened out. Lamar Jackson's due for a big money payday too. He'll have a great year.
Yeah.
I'll say they go over. Buffalo Bills over unders 11.5.
I'm gonna say over.
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 I agree with that.
This is gonna be the surprise year. This is gonna be the year that Josh Allen's going to surprise everybody.
All right.
They're the Super Bowl favorite right now before we go into the season. So, Carolina Panthers over under 6.5.
Under.
Yeah, under.
Yeah, definitely under.
Losers.
Under. I agree with that. All right. Chicago Bears over under 5.5.
My brother's in town. All right. Over. If my brother's listening, I hope he heard it. Over.
Under.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna say 5.5.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna squeak a half and win in there. Maybe a tie. They're gonna tie. They're gonna tie in there.
I'm gonna say under 5.5.
All right. The Cincinnati Bengals 10
Over.
is the over under.
Over.
I'm
Definitely
high on
over.
the Bengals. I'm high on the Bengals. I love what they did with their offensive line in the offseason.
Yeah.
And look how good they
I'm
were
gonna
with
say
a shitty offensive line. They got themselves some ballers now. Let's get it.
I'm going to say over too. I think they win the AFC North too again.
Yeah.
Second year in a row they win the Cleveland Browns over under not available.
I'm not surprised.
I
Under.
say 7.
Okay.
And I'll take. Let's say. Yeah, I'll get the over. I'm thinking
I
9
think the
wins.
under 4.
They're not that bad.
6.
And I'm sorry, Betty. I know if Betty's out there, all
Sorry,
the Cleveland
Betty.
Browns fans. Sorry about that,
6.
Yeah.
Betty. Harold, the Dallas Cowboys over under 10 wins.
Over.
Lou, I'll let you go on.
Over.
I hate to do this. Every time I do, they make me look like a fool. So I'm gonna say over.
But everybody plays the fool, Gerald. You gotta factor that in.
I'll be the consensus. We'll go with over that. Denver Broncos. The over under is 10 wins.
Under.
Under.
Yeah, way
Under.
under that.
Under. Okay. Detroit Lions over under 6.5.
Under. They're
Under.
trash.
Under. Sorry, Taylor.
Okay. Green Bay Packers over under 11 wins.
Huh.
Mm.
High.
11.
11.
Under.
Yeah, I'm gonna say over.
I'm gonna say under.
I'm gonna go over too. I'm gonna say they go. I say they win 12. That'd be about it.
Yeah.
Houston Texans over under 4.5.
Under. I say they win 2.
I'm gonna say over. I think that's underestimating 4.5.
What was it?
4.5.
Say, who is this?
Houston Texans.
Houston
This
Texans.
oh, under. 7-17. They're terrible. They just suck.
Whoa.
They're
How am I gonna give them no wins?
they're a
Cleveland
dumpster.
Revisited and Detroit.
They're a trash heap. I mean, they give a dumpster fire a bad name.
You need Indianapolis Colts over under 10. Is there?
Push right at 10. I like them at 10.
Okay.
I like them at 10.
I'll say over.
I like them where they're at. I'd say 10. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Rich's team, 6.5.
Under.
I'm gonna say
Under.
under, but not by much. I'm gonna say they get 6.
I'm gonna say
I
push.
think they can be. I think they can be competitive. I want to see with a competent head coach. I want to see what Trevor Lawrence can do.
Kansas City Chiefs over under 10.5.
Over.
Under.
Under.
Under. I'm gonna go over. The Raiders 8.5.
Over.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say over that because they got Devontae Adams now. They're gonna be way over there.
Over. Over.
Mhm.
I would agree with that.
I don't
think it's gonna
sleep
be
on the
over.
Raiders this year. Don't sleep on the
That's
Raiders.
gonna be the best division in football
Indeed.
when it's all said and done.
Watch them all go.
No.
Watch them all go 8-7 because
They beat up
because
each
they
other.
beat up on each other. Yeah.
The Chargers are over under 10 for the
Under.
Chargers.
Under.
Way
Over.
under.
And the Chargers, aren't they?
The Chargers,
Oh,
I'm going over.
I'm gonna say over.
The Chargers,
Yeah.
I think this is the breakout year for Justin Hubert. I think they go over 10 wins.
Oh yeah, me too. I think they're gonna pick up at least 11 or 12.
I would agree with that. I think the Rams, and this is the other team in Los Angeles. Over under their guys is 10.5.
Over.
Over.
Way. I'm gonna say over that. I'm gonna say at least 12
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking 12.
Yeah.
because they are
Say
the
over that?
defending Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, and then you're the king of the mountain until they knock you off, right?
Right.
Come beat
And-
me.
And you know they just
The-
gave Aaron Donald a big payday.
Yep.
Yep.
And he got to be in the 99 overall on Madden
Yeah.
too. So
Yep.
that was announced earlier today too. Over under for the Dolphins 9.
Under.
Under.
I don't think they're that bad. I think they'll get 8, but I don't think they'll get over 9.
Under.
I think they're
Seven.
right
I
at
agree with that.
500.
Minnesota Vikings over under 9 wins.
Under.
Push right at 9.
Right at 9. Okay.
I gotta agree with Adam. I'm gonna say right at 9.
Yep, I would say I agree with that. Actually, I think they're right at
Okay.
9 wins.
Okay.
The Patriots over under 8.5.
Over.
I think they win at least 9. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
over.
over 2.
Yeah, I agree
I got-
with Brad on that one. I'm gonna say at least 9.
Yeah, I got 9 and 10. 9 or 10. Not 9 and 10.
Right.
New England's going to play 2 extra games this year for some reason. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
What are we thinking?
Let's see. We have who's next on my list here? Got to be one of the New York teams. I'm imagining the Saints over under 8.
Under.
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 Is there a reason why you guys think they're not going to win?
No Sean
Jameis?
Payton.
No Sean Payton.
No Drew
You think
Brees.
Jameis is not going to lead them to the promised land?
I don't think Jameson can do it.
Unless they're planning on opening a bakery here in New Orleans, no.
I think I heard that.
Okay.
If they're gonna open a bakery and serve turnovers, then they might have something.
I heard that. That was the rumor.
Change that name to the New Orleans Turnovers.
Yeah.
But if the goal is to win football games, then turnovers aren't gonna help.
All right. The next one, guys, is the New York Giants over under 7.
Under.
Right at 7. I think they can get 7 wins.
I'm gonna say at least 6.
Yeah, definitely.
The New York Jets 5.5.
Under, but not by much.
I'm gonna say 4. Under.
No,
All right.
over. I think I do better this year.
I got them right at 5.
Yeah, you would say that, Lou, wouldn't you?
I don't think he's out to lunch on the Jets, though. I think they could get 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It's like they say, any given Sunday.
Well, yeah, true. Because let me change that. Because Wilson's going to have a breakout season this year. I think so. I'm going to say at least 7.
Over under, guys, Eagles 9.5.
Over 10.
I'm
Over.
gonna say 10 because they did improve on their defense in the draft.
Jordan Davis is a monster. He's a scary
Yeah.
mother. He's a scary mother. Oh my god.
That was a game that I thought would never end.
The Pittsburgh Steelers over under 7.
Over.
Over.
Well, it just
Over.
depends on who starts at quarterback. If Mitch starts, it's gonna be over.
Can you pick it?
Under.
Under? Okay.
Kissing titties.
San Francisco 49ers over under 10.
Under.
Under.
Under because they're not gonna have Jimmy G, and I don't think Trey Lance is gonna be able
Is ready.
to. I don't think he's gonna be able to win more than maybe 8 games.
No dice. No dice.
Yeah, I was thinking 8, 9, something like that. Back into the playoffs and bounced in the first round.
All right. Seahawks over under 5.5.
Under.
Drew Lock.
Under.
Over.
I'm gonna say under.
All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 11.5.
Over.
Over.
I'm,
No.
I'm gonna say under 10.
You know what? Without the Gronk, I don't know if they're going to be the same team, so I'm going to say under.
They signed Kyle Rudolph today to a 1-year contract.
I know.
I'm gonna say push. I think it's gonna be right at 11 or 12.
Yeah.
They're gonna be right
right
there. Yeah.
Yeah, without like with what Lou was saying, they don't have Gronk, so I'm gonna
That
say
defense is still strong.
I know, but I'm gonna say 9 or 10.
Tennessee Titans over under 9.
Under.
Under.
They still have what's that quarterback's
Henry.
name? For the Titans.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tannehill can be a good quarterback when he has to be, so I'm gonna say over.
I like over.
Not by much though.
All right, and the last team, guys, is Washington over under 8.
Well, they got crippled Carson Wentz.
Under.
Push right at 8.
He can't stay healthy a whole season, so I'm gonna say under.
Yeah.
Under. Okay. All right. So those are the predictions, guys, from BleacherReport.com
All right.
on that. Let me real quick. Here are 3. Because we have a couple people on here that are AFC East fans. I'm one of them. Adam's one, and Lou's a Jets fan. Here are 3 questions that each AFC East team must answer before the start of the season.
Okay.
I will start with the Buffalo Bills. What is Tre'Davious White's timeline to return? That's the first one.
Okay.
How will the change from Brian Daboll to Ken Dorsey change the offense? And who will play opposite Von Miller on that defensive line in Buffalo? For the Patriots, will Joe Judge or Matt Patricia call plays on offense? Who is the passing down back? James White or Brandon Bolden? Is there enough at corner now that Stephon Gilmore and J.C. Jackson are both gone? So Malcolm Butler's back, but
he's a little long.
For Miami, is Tua Tagovailoa ready to lead his high-speed offense?
If they tailor the offense to fit what he does, the answer is yes.
How quickly can the offensive line mesh?
They got to get it. I mean, they should already be hanging out and working out and getting ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
What is the pecking order in the backfield between Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Sony Michel? So that would be
whoever's got the hot hand gets the ball.
Yep.
For the New York Jets, Who will start at safety alongside Jordan Whitehead? Will George Font or Mikal Becton play left tackle?
Hey guys, I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
Right.
And is Zach Wilson showing he is ready to take a year 2 leap?
I think he's ready
Are
to
the
take it.
question.
I think so.
Okay. Speaking of fantasy football, but I got this thing right here.
Okay.
Here are the 2022 fantasy football running backs in tiers.
Okay.
This is CBS Sports Fantasy. So here, let me give you. I don't play fantasy football. I help my roommate play, but I don't.
suck at
I'm not a
fantasy
big.
football.
I've never been a fan of playing it, and nothing against anyone that does. I've been asked by bazillions of people to play,
Yeah, I said
and
that.
I've never played. Here's tier 1: McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, and Derrick Henry. Tier 2 is Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, and Leonard Fournette. Tier 3 is Javonte Williams, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, and Ezekiel Elliott. Tier 4 is Alvin Kamara, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, James Conner, Bryce Hall, and
Right.
Antonio Gibson. Tier 5 is Elijah Mitchell, Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chase Edmonds, Miles Sanders, and A.J. Dillon.
Mhm.
Tier 6 is Tony Pollard, Damian Pierce, Nami Hines, Michael Carter, Cordell Patterson, James Cook, Damian Harris, Tyler Aguilar, Devin Singletary, Melvin Gordon, Ken Walker, Rashard Penny, and Ronald Jones.
Mm.
Tier 7 is Khalil Herbert, James Robinson, Deontay Foreman, Ramon Stevenson, Rashad White, Kenneth Gainwell, Alexander Mason. And Tier 8, J.D. McKissick, Jamal Williams, Darrell Henderson, Kenyon Drake, Gus Edwards, Darrell Williams, Brian Robinson, Raheem Mozart, Marlon Mack, Isaiah Spiller, James White, and Mark Ingram.
Mm.
So those are all. Those are the tiers there. I can do quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends if you want those too.
All right.
I could do that too. All right, so here's the quarterbacks. All right, so let's see here. If it gives me, okay, yep. Tier 1 is Josh Allen,
Oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert.
Okay.
Tier 2 is Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, Kyler Murray. Tier 3 is Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow.
Mhm.
Tier 4 is Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, and Aaron Rodgers. Tier 5 is Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Deshaun Watson, and Tua Tagovailoa, and Trevor Lawrence. Tier 5 is the floor, is what they're calling this. Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz. Tier 6 is Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson, Jared Goff, Davis Mills, Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones, Matt Ryan. And Tier 7 is Mitchell Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, Drew Lock, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, and Geno Smith. So those are the quarterbacks from tiers 1 to 7. Wide receivers. I'm going to guess Devontae Adams has got to be a tier 1 guy.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
just going to throw that out there. Let's see here. Tier 1. Oh, no. Tier 1, there's only 2 players, and that would be Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson.
I'm back.
Tier 2 is Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, and Stephon Diggs. Tier 3 is Brandon Cooks, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Deebo Samuel, CeeDee Lamb, and Tyreek Hill. Tier 4 is Michael Pittman, A.J. Brown, and T. Higgins. Tier 5 is Devontae Johnson, Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle,
Yeah.
Mike Williams, and Darnell Mooney.
Mm-hmm.
It's Moody.
Tier 6 is Cortland Sutherland, Amari Cooper, Marquise Brown, Adam Thielen, Michael Metcalf. Tier 7 is Juju Smith-Schuster, Rashawn Bateman, Allen Robinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Robert Woods, and Tyler Lockett. Tier 8 is Drake London, Gabrielle Davis, Garrett Wilson, Trevon Burks, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, Michael Gallup, and DeAndre Hopkins. Tier 9 is Hunter Renfrow, Javon Dotson, Devontae Parker, Christian Kirk, Russell Gage, Jacoby Myers, Alan Lazard, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Chris Olave, Kadarius Toney, Kenny Galladay, Jameson Williams, Brandon Ayuk, if I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. And Tier 10 is Sterling Shepard, Robbie Anderson, Christian Watson, Corey Davis, Tim Patrick, Tyler Boyd, KJ Osborne, Van Jefferson, Alec Pierce, Javaris Landry, Nico Collins, Randall Cobb, Jalen Tolbert, John Michie, DJ Chark, and David Bell. Round out the Tier 10. And let me give you guys, I think I have the tight ends as well. Let me give you the tight ends as well. That's all the offensive guys.
Yeah.
Would you guys, real quick question, would you guys want to have a fantasy guy come on here and talk?
I'd love to talk to a
Yeah,
fan.
sure. I would love it.
Yeah,
I'd
you
love
can help
to
us
stick
all out.
around and
All right.
talk to him.
So
fantasy.
here are
I don't
the
know what happened to my league.
tight end tiers. Tier 1 is Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews.
Ooh, I like that.
Tier 2 is Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle.
Kittle should be tier
Tier
1.
3 is Dalton Schultz, Dallas Goedert, TJ Hawkinson. That's Tier 3. Tier 4 is Zach Ertz, Irv Smith, Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet, Pat
That really
Freiermuth,
hurts.
and Mike. Yep. Tier 5 is Tyler Higbee, Noah Font, David. Oh God, I can't pronounce. Why can I never say that name correctly?
By the way, did you get the joke? I said that really hurts.
It really hurts. Evan Ingram, Logan Thomas, Hayden Hurts, and Albert Agabawamana, if I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. Tier 6 is Robert Tonyan, Hunter Henry, Brevard Jordan, Austin Hooper, CJ Uzma, and Dawson Knox are your tight ends. That's fantasy rankings this year. But that's all. I don't have any defense guys that could throw you deep. I don't have.
No,
any
it's
defense.
usually PPR. Most people play PPR leagues, so they don't.
Okay.
So they just draft the whole defense. You don't draft individual defenders.
Correct.
Right.
Do you guys want to go to the National Hockey League next week?
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, we got more free agencies, don't we?
The
We
agency's
did.
Still
I
going
saw
on.
somebody that got signed, and I was gonna mention it, but then we started talking about other
Well, I
things.
mean,
That happens, right?
the Lightning only lost. We only lost. We traded away Ryan McDonough and lost Andre Palat.
Yep.
That's all we. That's
Who'd you bring in to replace them?
we brought in Ian Cole from Carolina, which I guess the reason he left Carolina is because he was screwing a Bally Sports broadcaster and was in deep trouble with the team. Had to be traded. Yeah, they re-signed Nick Paul. They re-signed Anthony Sorelli. They re-signed Eric Chernak. They re-signed Miguel Sergachev.
Okay.
And they all got like 8-year contracts.
So it seems to be the
There,
norm
yeah.
now, 8-year contracts.
I hate those long contracts.
Yeah,
hate
they don't do any good.
They're just what happens at the end of their contract when they stink.
Right.
And you've got these massive contracts that you can't move.
Yeah, you pile of puke.
Let me give you guys the free agency grades. We can do that if you want to go team by team.
Sure.
CBS, again, this is CBS's
All right.
ranking. Let's start here and see exactly what is going on here. Let me scan down. Obviously, the big move was seeing what's his name go to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Johnny Gaudreau.
Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah.
Yep. Now I guess these are individual free agents.
Okay.
Claude Giroux to the Senators. They gave him a B+.
Okay.
I'll just pick up. Again, Malkin staying with the Penguins. A B. Darcy Kemper signing with the Washington Capitals. He gets a B+ for that one. Evander Kane staying in Edmonton, an A-. Artie Luttikin with the Avalanche, a B+. Andre Palat with the Devils, the B-. Again, this is somebody grading the trades. Johnny Gaudreau to the Blue Jackets. He gives that an A. Andre Burakovsky to the Kraken. Gives that an A. Vincent Trocheck to the Rangers. He gives that a B+. Jack Campbell with the Oilers, a B-. Andrew Kopp with the Red Wings, a B. Mason Marchessault with the Dallas Stars, B+. David Perron with the Detroit Red Wings, an A+. He gave it an A+.
I like that move.
Yeah, that I really honestly believe that the Red Wings are on the up. This is going to be that up year that they're there. That's just my opinion. I think they get better this year. I really honestly can say that.
I hope so. I think this is the year. This is the year we take a step forward. And next year is the year make some big splashes. Yeah. Now, if we can bring in Matthew Tkachuk, that would be a huge splash.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean, Yzerman can do that kind of stuff. He's, so yeah. Let me give you some. This is unbelievable. Bleacher Report gives the power rankings after the first wave of free agency. I can't believe that they're throwing out power rankings already, but here we go. Starting with 32 to 26, Blackhawks, Flyers, Coyotes, Kraken, Ducks, Canadians, Devils. So that's how they got 32 to 26. Blackhawks, Flyers, Coyotes, Kraken, Ducks, Canadians, Devils. The 25 to 21, Sharks, Sabres, Islanders, Knights, Jets. 20 to 16, the Senators, Blue Jackets, Canucks, Red Wings, Predators.
I'll take it.
15 to 11, Dallas, Minnesota, Boston, Calgary, St. Louis. 6 to 10, you have the Kings, Penguins, Capitals, Oilers, Rangers. And then 1 to 5 is Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Colorado. So they have the Avalanche still at number 1.
That makes sense.
They're defending champions, and so yes.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
That's the power rankings.
Dude,
how do you feel about the Rangers being at 6?
6th? I think, since they got to the conference finals last year, I think maybe they'll be a little bit low. I think they should deserve to be a little bit higher than that.
Well, I mean, they're right there. I mean, obviously, You're sitting in the top 10. You're right there, and I mean, they are a good hockey team.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people didn't give them a lot of credit.
No,
they played what?
No.
2 7-game series in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs and got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost in 6, right? I think they lost.
They got
6.
burnt out.
Yeah. Yep. I would say I agree with that. Where would you gentlemen like to go next? I can go to NCAA football if you want. I got a lot of.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Okay. I guess Nick and Jimbo Fisher have squashed their spat with each other.
That's depressing.
I've seen them shaking hands. I've seen them compliment each other.
Man, I love drama.
Yeah. I don't know if I quite agree with this, but there's a guy that says that the best division in college football is the SEC East. I don't know about that. I don't know how you would rank that. I don't think that's true, and I'm an SEC guy. I don't think that that's true because the only team that I can think of in the SEC East that's any good is Georgia. Tennessee's a question mark. Florida's a question mark. How would they be the best division in college football? I don't get that. I don't.
get it.
But then again, it's an SEC writer. So there you. That's probably why.
Yeah, drinking the Kool-Aid though.
Yeah. Notre Dame is targeting a $75 million annual media right payout in quest to remain independent. Wow, I didn't know that they had to remain. They had to buy into being independent. Wow. Okay. Let's see here. Here are some college football win totals. Let's see what this is real quick. I saw this. I wanted to bring this up and see if you guys agree with the win totals for certain teams. I'm sure it's not going to be everybody, but
Right.
let's see here. Maybe it will be everybody. Okay. So they have Toledo, UNLV. Wow, they do have everybody on this list.
Even that.
Okay. They've got Oklahoma at 9.5, over under 9.5 wins for Oklahoma this year. For South Florida, 4.5. I'd say that's a push. I think they're going to win 5. I think South Florida can win 5 games this year. Alabama and Ohio State at 11, Georgia at 11.5. That's what they have down here. They have USC at 9, over under 9 wins for USC. So it's not everybody. They just picked certain teams.
We've had Division I to play. Huh?
Yeah, it's something like that.
That's a tough game.
Yeah. Nick Saban wants to change the NIL rule.
Yeah.
Well, that's not surprising. I think he wants to make everything an advantage for him.
Of course.
he does.
I think that's kind of how that all breaks itself down. I guess, guys, there was a talk with the Big 12 and Pac-12 merging.
Yeah, that fell apart.
Forget about it.
Yeah, there was a potential merger going on. So that fell apart, though, correct?
Yeah, then nothing came of that.
Yeah, still born on that one.
And I believe the SEC just had their media day. So I know that there was, Greg Sankey is the commissioner of the SEC. They talked about, obviously, the conference realignment. Obviously, we know with Oklahoma and Texas coming in a couple years, you're going to have to realign the conference anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how that all breaks down. But I mean, I can't believe that we're 4 weeks away, 4.5 weeks away from being the start of college football.
Well, you want to count those games? Go ahead. But.
Week 0, baby.
Yeah, week 0.
Yeah, I think we're about 4.5 weeks away from week 0 of college football starting up.
Yeah. Texas start in August, I think. August or September.
Yeah, it should be early September.
Well,
I was going to say USF starts September 8th at home, so I know that's could be September 1st for some teams. Let me look and see if I can get if ESPN has a schedule up.
They do.
The Browns signed Josh Rosen to a 1-year deal. Just shits and giggles for that one.
More shits, though.
Charles Barkley's ready to – he's playing in a Pro-Am with the Live Tour. I'm sure he's going to get shit for that.
Yeah.
Sure he's going to get shit for that since there's been some shakeup there. And, hey, Lou, I thanked Lou the other night for mentioning my article on your show, on your baseball show.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know he was going to talk about my article, but the show that you did with him on Monday night, I appreciated him.
You mean Ralph?
Mentioning my yeah, he mentioned my article on.
Yes, he did.
Great article. It's a good read
on the show. Yeah,
Was a great article
about the Live. Well, it was. I mean, it was about the Live being the competition
Yeah, that.
um, to the PGA Tour. We can get into that. I mean, we could talk about golf next. We can make it brief. I know a lot of you guys don't like to talk about golf in general. We can make it brief.
Well, we did have a major, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can talk about the Open Championship that happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
All right, so college football starts. It starts Saturday, August 27th.
I'm already counting the days.
Yeah, so August 27th. So today is July 21st. So we're about 2 months away from the start of the season
About a month.
starting up. So about a month. Yeah, sorry, about a month away. My
36
apologies.
days.
About a month away. Yep.
God, I can't wait.
No one really. Guys, here are the games on the 27th. Nevada and New Mexico State. Austin P against Western Kentucky. Nebraska at home against Northwestern. Idaho State at UNLV. UConn at Utah State. Wyoming at Illinois. You have guys, help me with this. DUKUESNE is at
Duquesne.
I'm sorry, thank you. They're playing Florida State in Tallahassee. Charlotte at Florida Atlantic. Florida A&M at North Carolina. North Texas at UTEP. And Vanderbilt at Hawaii rounds out that. And then September 1st
Aloha.
starts September 1st, I think, is week 0 because you have the likes of Tennessee, Pittsburgh, UCF, Oklahoma State, Purdue, Penn State, teams like that playing. So that kind of starts the season.
Yeah. Why does Austin always have to pee? I don't understand. I don't get that. Oh,
Austin P.
Austin P. Austin always has to pee.
You just go already. You wouldn't have to.
That's right.
I think Saturday. Yeah. So there you have that. Yes. So then you have a bunch of games. Yeah. So that pretty much starts the season. So we're about a month away from the season starting up.
Yeah.
In college football, which is good. That's a good thing.
Begins 8/27.
Yep. In golf, there was the British Open over the weekend. And obviously we got to see the tearful goodbye of one Tiger Woods because it'll probably be the last Open Championship he plays in at St. Andrews.
Yes.
As he crossed the bridge, he lifted his hat and was in tears. And I think we all cried a little bit when he waved his hat for the last time. Yep. Cameron Smith out of Australia wins the Open Championship over Cameron Young and Rory McIlroy. Lou, can you vouch for me? Did Rory kind of choke away on the last day?
Yes.
You say he choked it away again? Yeah.
Capital CHOKE, choke.
Well, I will say something cool about Cameron Smith. When they interviewed him, he said, "I want to see how many beers will fit in the top of the claret jug."
Mm-hmm.
So he was ready
3
for beer. After, is that what it is? 3? Is that what they determined?
That's only an estimated guess, but I'm gonna say 3.
3? Okay. There were, of course, some live news. Hendrik Stenson was supposed to be the European captain in the Ryder Cup this upcoming year in 2020. He joined the Live Tour. Guess what? He's no longer the captain of the European team. He has been shunned away for his over there. So they are taking away a lot of stuff from these guys that are joining the tour. I played golf on Sunday at Disney and talked to one of the pro shop employees, and she was absolutely pissed off about the Live Tour. Oh, screw them. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the PGA did for them. Kind of hard. It's kind of hard. When money's involved, it makes it kind of hard.
Well, I remember Mike Hodson, BS Watts.
Yeah, there you exactly. We can go, guys, if you want to. Do you guys want to go to the NBA since their free agency's going on?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Okay.
Anything interesting?
So here is the summer league was won by the Trailblazers.
Okay.
So they won the summer league championship
Yep.
over the Knicks.
And
If
things
our
that mean
77
absolutely nothing.
No, I mean it doesn't mean anything at all. I mean that's just the summer basketball. Now, when is the season starts? When in October?
In
Late
October,
October.
right?
Yes.
October.
Yes.
So here is NBA free agency. What's going around? Devin Booker and the Suns agree to a 4-year, $224 million contract.
Right on.
John Morant agrees with terms with the Grizzlies.
Okay.
The Joker agrees to the richest contract in NBA history, 5 years, $264 million supermax extension.
Woo.
And Karl Anthony Towns agrees to a 4-year, $224 million extension as well. Kevin Durant, I think, asked for a trade. He listed the Miami Heat and Phoenix Suns as his preferred destinations. So there you go.
Right.
Durant's teammate Kyrie Irving opted into his $36.5 million option on June 27th, and now his future in Brooklyn seems uncertain. James Harden agreed to a $47.4 million contract, and Bradley Beal, both declined their player options. I think, didn't Harden just sign an extension
Yes.
recently?
Yes, he just did yesterday.
And is Bradley Beal did he sign an extension too, Lou, or is he still out there?
I think he did sign an extension, but I don't think it gave us the details of how much it was.
Okay.
They never tell me anything.
Yes, that's free agent James Harden's agreed to a 2-year, $68.6 million deal to return to the 76ers. The Los Angeles Lakers have re-engaged with the Pacers on trade talks with center and guard Buddy Hield, according to ESPN's David McNamee. Okay. Russell Westbrook out and bringing Kyrie Irving. But yeah, I mean, it's been kind of a whirlwind of off-season moves in the NBA. Zion Williamson remains with extension with the Pelicans. Are you guys surprised that he re-signed with them?
Not really, no.
DeAndre Ayton, I guess, did they bring him back to Phoenix, or is he a Pacer? I didn't understand how that went, because I think you had said the Suns matched their deal, right?
Yes,
the Suns
yes.
matched the 50 off. Right. Damian Lillard is staying with Portland, 2-year, $122 million. He's the only player there, right? Yeah, you could say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not really too much happening in Portland. But that's, I mean, I could go down. There's updates for every day of free agency, but could you see, where do you think Kevin Durant's going to end up? I guess I should ask that question.
A couch.
A couch. Okay.
I don't. Why would you want to sign him? He's such a malcontent and a problem everywhere he goes, except for Golden State. Except for the 2 years he was in San Francisco, he's been a liability.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
In Texas, he was really good in Texas.
Yes. I mean, he spent 8 seasons there.
You mean Oklahoma?
No, I mean Texas. University of Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's where KD
well, he wasn't bad in Oklahoma. He wasn't a problem in Oklahoma.
Yeah, but he couldn't get it done in Oklahoma. That's why he went to Oakland. Outside of and then once he wasn't happy in Houston. He's not happy in Brooklyn.
Nope.
Maybe he didn't play in Houston. I don't remember now.
Played in Austin. I don't think he played for the Rockets.
I don't. Yeah.
I think he was drafted by Oklahoma City. Then he left Oklahoma City to go to the Warriors, and then he left the Warriors to go to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And now
It
he's let's another team.
Yeah, it was Harden that wasn't happy in Houston.
Yeah.
I don't think there was enough ball going around when they were in Oklahoma City between Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. That's why they couldn't
They only
get
had
it.
one, but they only played with one basketball. So
Can't do much with that.
No.
he's one of the last players drafted by the Seattle Supersonics.
Before they became the blunder.
Do you ever see them coming back?
Possibly.
You ever see the bringing them back?
They've
I'm
been
down.
talking about it. And the NBA still owns the rights to use the Supersonics name.
Correct.
Yes.
Because that, you know what? I'll be honest with you. When they brought the Kraken in the NHL, it's been kind of cool.
Yeah.
They were called the Supersonics, and they got to wear the green and gold. That'd be cool.
Nate has a
Because they
physical
played
sea
in the same
creature.
arena that the Sonics played in, so they played in the same arena that they played in. So, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong. The WNBA is in their playoffs. Is that correct?
No, they just finished their All-Star game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think they're doing like that Commissioner's Cup tournament. That's not exactly postseason. That's like an in-season tournament.
Right. Of course, the big story is Brittany Griner's trial has been adjourned until the 26th. Now Russia says that the United States needs to stay out of it. Saw an article today about that. They stay out of it.
We're already in it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't understand why she thought that she could bring illegal drugs to a country and not
Like
get
Russia?
caught with it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter which country.
Well, I mean, it depends on, like a more liberal democracy probably wouldn't have cared, but it's Russia, for Christ's sake. Come on,
Right.
use
Yeah.
your head.
Exactly.
Throw your weed away.
Yep.
You can always buy more weed. Throw your weed away.
And there is the WNBA and the NWSL, that's the National Women's Soccer League, is considering expansion, but now will abortion rights be the line drawn in the sand for expansion in certain states? Again, that's a political issue, but that's a question that I would throw out there. People have their own opinion on the abortion right thing, and you are entitled to them. I think me and Jared had this conversation off air not too long ago. But I mean, everyone has their opinion on it, and I respect your opinion. I'm never going to rip anybody down for what they believe in.
Right.
Same thing with the COVID shot. I got my shots because I wanted to be secure around my family. But if you don't want to get them, that's on you, man. I'm not going to sit here and belittle you on social media because you didn't get them. That's your decision.
Right.
And if you get sick, don't blame us because we warned you. But it's on you. And if it affected your health, hey, that's cool too. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not in any position to judge anybody.
Hey,
I don't have that kind of power. Even if I did, I still wouldn't do it.
Right.
So,
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
I just seen something. It says Kurt Busch hints at 2023 retirement.
Well, I think we all saw that coming.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to get into NASCAR. So go ahead and keep talking about that. You better brought that up.
I think that 2023 will be his last year with Tyler Reddick coming over. I almost said JJ Reddick.
Basketball.
Totally different guy. I assume that this was going to be the 2023 was going to be his swan song, right off into the sunset.
With Tyler Reddick kind of being at number 45 anyhow.
I think so. I think he'll be in the because they signed him. He didn't take over that ride until 2024.
Gotta see what happens. But we only have 6 weeks before the playoffs start.
Yep.
What, Joe and Adam? What's your guys' opinion about Chicago adding a road course?
Stupid, and I hate it.
That's gonna be fun to see.
It's gonna be god awful. It's another terrible ass road course. Road course racing is dumb.
Well, it's gonna be interesting to watch it.
Yeah.
We don't have to like it. I just want to see how it's gonna work.
If it's anything like the street circuit from the iRacing from last year, 2 years ago, it's gonna be god awful.
Wow.
Yeah, because we already have enough road courses on the schedule as it is.
I don't know why we run so many damn road courses. What was wrong with Watkins Glen and Sonoma? Perfect amount of road courses, too.
And they have a road course that they run on that's about maybe 30 to 35 minutes from me.
Yeah, Coda.
Yep.
Where are they at this week, guys? In NASCAR?
Pocono.
Yep.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the Triangle course?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Do
then
you guys have anybody that you guys are looking to see that would be favored to win the race?
I like Carl Larson to bounce back. He's getting Cliff Daniels back.
I gotta agree with Adam. I think Larson's gonna win it.
Well, it just goes to show you how important a good crew chief is, because Larson struggled for the last couple of weeks, and Cliff has been out, and he's finally getting Cliff back this week. So I expect him to bounce back and finish well.
Races of won and lost on pit road.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Not just by the pit crew, but by the guy in the box making the calls.
Yep.
You got to keep up with the track.
Come in and pit if you and he makes the call if you take 4 tires, 2 tires, or this fuel, this gas and go.
4. 4 tires always.
I seen some pit crews call for 2.
Here's some information that might help.
Say what?
I want 4, and I'm not getting it. I'm not leaving until I get them. That's what won Bell the race Sunday. They got 4 tires, and everybody else got none or 2. And
Yeah, I'd rather run on 4
Handling.
fresh than 2 fresh and 2 old.
Yup, give me 4. Give me 4. You know, the thing about it is the car doesn't the car just doesn't drive the same on 2 tires or no tires.
Exactly.
And the biggest thing that I never understood is, like, the track's gonna change, right? You know that the track's gonna be different later on in the day, right? And whenever the car seems to be running good in the first half of the race, they don't want to make any changes. I'm like, you got to keep up with the track. Track's gonna change.
Yep.
And yet they don't want to. Well, it's running good. Why would you always got to adjust on it? Air pressure.
When you start running, the track gets hot and sticky. Then as the sun starts going down, the track starts cooling down and you start losing that grip.
No, it gets grippier.
Yeah.
As the sun goes, it starts out hot and slick, and as the sun goes down, it cools off, and it's gonna grip up. As that track time comes down, and if you start in the middle of the day, that if you start at 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, you start out in cloud cover. Cloud cover goes away. The track's gonna get hot and slick, and you got to compensate for that. You got to make adjustments to it throughout the race. And I see so many guys who run the first 150, 200 miles, and then they don't adjust to the track, and the track changes, car goes away, and they go from leading 120 laps to
being 4 or 5 laps down
to being 8th with 20 to go, no shot, or 3rd with no shot.
Right.
I mean, although they say Kurt Busch and his crew made a call last week, got him 10th. That was a pretty bold move to get 10th, come down with 30 to go and take 4 fresh tires and go back out there and try and get something done.
Okay, there's only 2 more spots left in the playoffs.
Exactly.
What two
I
drivers you think are going to take it?
so who's there? It's Blaney and it's Truex and Blaney, right?
I had the list, but I don't remember what I did with it.
I think it's Truex and Blaney. I like those two.
I can see those two taking the final spots.
Yeah.
Guys, here's the power rankings real quick from 10 to 1. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, and Chase Elliott.
I don't agree with Kyle Busch being at number 2.
It's Ross Chastain at 2.
It's Ross Chastain at 2.
Okay, well, what's Kyle Busch?
6?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he's number 6 on the list.
Okay, he should be number 10. Because he hasn't really won anything.
Kyle Busch's got 2 wins? Or just 1? He's Kyle have 2 or 1 win this year? Yep. And he's got 1 win.
I wonder if they're going to do it like they did last year, Adam. Allow the owners' points to help you get in.
No.
You don't think they're going to do it this year? You don't think
No.
they're going to? Well, you know they did last year.
No, they didn't. What are you talking about? You have to be top 30 in owner points to qualify.
Yes.
But your owner points don't apply.
Well, that's probably what I was thinking about then.
Yeah. I don't like how that. Let me look at this here real quick. It looks different. Yeah, that's not. Because that's just the standings.
Huh.
Here we go. Aha, here
That
we
was
go.
in top 10.
Yeah. Yeah, right now the last 2 in are Blaney and Truex. I don't see I don't know with the way with the races left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see. I don't know. You know, Daytona's a wild card. And that's always a big deal. Daytona, Watkins Glen is coming up. See, this week we've got Pocono. Then we have the Indianapolis road course. I think it's the road course. It might be back out on the big track, but I think it's the road course. And then Michigan. Second time at Richmond, then Watkins Glen. Then the Coke 400. And, you know, with Watkins Glen and Daytona being kind of a wild card weekend going into the playoffs. I just don't see anybody. I just don't see them jumping up. I don't see anybody jumping up and knocking out Truex or Blaney. I just don't see it.
How many races are in the playoff?
10.
10.
Yep, 10 races.
Yeah, they start out with 18, then go 16, then 8, then they have the championship 4.
Gotcha.
16, 12, 8, 4.
And that last race, the last race for all the marbles is going to be at Phoenix.
Yep. And then they re-sign it for another year. So is it going to be there in? I think it's going to be there in 2023 as well.
I think so. And but you got to remember also they add North Wilkesboro back on.
Not yet.
They said it's supposed to be there in 2023. So
No, I haven't heard anything about that. And they've been kicking around the idea of bringing it back, but there's so much that needs to go in to make it race ready that I just can't see them being able to bring it back in 2023.
they need to redo all the buildings. Redo the track surface.
Yeah, they have to put so much money. They have to bring the grandstands up to
But my question is, why did they close it in the first place?
Yeah.
because Texas was a bigger market. They were expanding to Texas, Miami, Chicago, Kansas City, Kansas. They just brought all those big mile and a half tracks that they wanted to that were in bigger markets that were easier to be accessed. Yeah, and that's just the thing about those old tracks, say like Darlington, Bristol, Talladega, North Wilkesboro, Riverside, all those old tracks. They're not they're out in the middle of godforsaken nowhere. And Kansas is right downtown. Texas is in Fort Worth. Chicago is just outside Chicago. It's like 40 minutes outside Chicago. So all those big new tracks that were being built in the late 90s and early 2000s, Miami, Homestead, right there in Miami. And NASCAR was growing. NASCAR had outgrown its small town roots at the time. And NASCAR was looking to get bigger and better. And, the thing about it is that no one expected Dale to die in 2001. Nobody had planned for Dale Earnhardt to die at the end of the 2001 Daytona 500.
No.
Exactly.
And so when NASCAR was growing and was as popular as it was, they were shuttering a lot of those, like Rockingham, anything that wasn't in a major city was on the chopping block. Rockingham, North Wilkesboro, Martinsville was targeted at one point. Darlington was down to one race for the longest time. So when you're right, why did they shut? Well, and the fact of the matter is that those facilities were brand new. Mm-hmm. Texas, Kansas, Chicago, Miami, they were all state of the art 20 years ago. And North Wilkesboro, Darlington, Martinsville, they all needed renovation. They were all 60 years old, and they all were bleacher seats, and they weren't on. They'd have 40,000 people there, 50,000 people there, and there wasn't access to have 50,000 people there. Not when they could have 80,000 people in Texas, or 65, 70,000 in Kansas. It's all about what you can. And at the time, before the constriction, before the oil crisis, before the housing bubble, before the .com bubble burst, people had disposable income, and they wanted to go to races. So, Texas was attractive, Kansas was attractive, Chicago, Miami, big cities with big fan bases and lots of disposable income. And when the oil crisis hit in 2008, when the housing crisis hit in 2008, and people were disillusioned by just everything, and people just didn't, it was paycheck to paycheck, pulling your belts tighter and tighter, and it was expensive. And going to a race was low priority. That's when people started wondering why did they go away from the classic tracks like Rockingham and North Wilkesboro. It's because the way that things were trending was towards bigger, faster, mile-and-a-half ovals, D-shaped mile-and-a-half ovals that were that you could see 70,000 people, and you could 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people in.
Yeah.
And that's why North Wilkesboro got shuttered, The Rock got shuttered, Darlington went down to one date. It's because these tracks weren't big enough to accommodate all the fans. Now, when it contracted, when the NASCAR bubble burst in 08 with the oil crisis and the housing crisis and the .com bubble bursting,
Yep.
that's when people started going, oh, maybe we overreached. When the Fortune 500 corporations weren't sponsoring 36, 38 races a year, when Caterpillar was scaling back to 22 races, when Budweiser was getting out, when Mountain Dew and Pepsi, when PepsiCo was scaling back, when PepsiCo dropped track sponsorships, when they were pulling out, when Tide got out, DeWalt got out, Home Depot, Lowe's, all those staples of the late 90s and early 2000s, when those brands all left, that's when fans started to wonder why they left, why they had gotten away from the roots. Is because the sport had outgrown its roots. It just wasn't necessary. It was necessary to expand.
Yeah.
Well, they expanded too big, and so when the crunch came, when that big crunch came, it came so hard and caught everybody by surprise. And again, and it's like nobody expected Dale Earnhardt to die, and the 500. So when we lost Dale, people just quit watching, whether it was too painful or they didn't care or they only watched for Dale, And when the love affair with the car, people don't have the love affair with the car like they did in the 60s and 70s.
No.
You can't buy a NASCAR off the showroom floor at your local dealership. You can't walk in with $150,000 and drive out a rear-wheel drive, 800 horsepower Toyota Camry. You can't walk into your local dealership. You can't walk into your Ford dealership with $150,000 and buy a 800 horsepower rear-wheel drive Ford Mustang.
No.
You can't go down to your local Chevy dealer, put $150,000 on the counter, and walk out with an 800 horsepower rear-wheel drive Chevy Camaro, street legal Chevy Camaro. And see, that's what NASCAR had going for it in the 60s and 70s, and to a lesser extent in the 80s, was that you could go down to your dealership and buy a street legal race car, an American-made street legal race car, made in Detroit. And that's what people who liked racing, people who liked motorsports, that's what they wanted. Buy on race on Sunday, sell on Monday. And when NASCAR got it got so technical in the mid 90s and early 2000s, when you couldn't just go buy one of those cars, Americans see cars as tools. It's just a tool.
Well, guys, we're getting close to the end of the show. Do you guys want to go ahead? Do you guys want to do a 2000 themed show next week from 2000 to 2010?
We could do that. I was also thinking that we could do an NFL college football preview show. Because next,
I'll let you guys flip
wait
the
a minute.
coin and
No. Never mind. Sorry. I was thinking next week was the Hall of Fame game, but that's actually the week after next. It's August 4th. Yeah.
What you want to do the 2000 show and then do the NFL NCAA one?
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot more sense. I'm sorry.
We'd have two fun shows in a row.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I'm cool with that. Totally works for me. All right, well, you guys go ahead and plug your shows. I'll give you guys the mic.
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll let you go first because I'm fixing to get off and go get something to eat.
All right. Enhanced Sports Show. We keep rolling on through.
Yes.
Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Number to call, of course, is 512-543-4662. I'll repeat it again, 512-543-4662. A lot of baseball talk we're going to be doing this week because we're going to recap the Home Run Derby, the All-Star Game, and the draft. No, I'm not going to do all 10 rounds. Thank you very much. That would take forever.
It
So,
was 20.
so I'm not doing all 20 rounds either. No way. I meant to do only about 2. So forget it. If you think I'm going to do all 20, no chance. We'll recap the NBA Summer League, much to my dismay. Thank you very much. You dirty no good. The women's soccer, because I got some news about that. I think Joe knows what I'm talking about. And for those of special interest, we'll also recap the, if I dare say this, the ESPY winners. I know a lot of people don't really care, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. So all this and more.
Great speech by Dick Vitale.
Yes. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with Dick's speech, of course. So all that and more on the Enhanced Sports Show is Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. East Coast time. In the Central Time Zone, it's 4 to 6. In the West, it's 2 to 4. So if you got time, wherever you are, check us out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
And with that being said, I'm going to bid y'all a good night. I'm sitting here getting hungry, and I'll catch up with y'all later.
Have a good one.
All right, Joe. Well, thank you, guys. This has been the Walker Report, part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio and part of NGSC Sports. Remember the website, guys. It's ngscsports.com. I got so worried about what was going on off the air that I forgot to mention the sponsors in the beginning of the show.
I was wondering if something had happened there.
We're sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com, the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you, adding comfort to your life. And remember, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. And we are also sponsored by Garrett's Carrots, designer jewelry and luxury accessories. Illuminate your inner self, discover your flex, shatter the trendy norms, and open up your world to a newfound level of confidence and admiration. That is through NGSC, and I'm working on getting a new sponsor, guys. It's actually going to be dog treats, so I'm working on that right now as we speak. But I'm going to try to get my camera and my internet fixed for next week. We will have if you guys did not hear, we're going to do a 2000 to 2010 theme show next week, followed by a NFL NCAA preview show following week. So we will be having 2 kind of cool shows in a row as we get ready for the dog days of football are upon us and returning soon. Where
I just can't wait for cooler weather.
College football and the NFL will be taking over basically the last hour of the show.
Yeah, they usually do.
We get to that point. But everyone out there, guys, thanks for everyone on here. Adam, do you want to go ahead and drop the Instagram?
And drop the Insta. Yeah. The Walker Report has an official Instagram at the Walker Report. Insta. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
I need this. I promise I'm more prepared. Yes, it's the Walker Report _official on Insta, and the email is the Walker Report official, no _.
Yes.
Well, until then, guys, everyone, please stay safe out there. I want to thank our men and women of our armed services and our first responders. Thank you guys for doing what you do. Until then, guys, this has been the Sports Show, Bradley Walker. This has been the Walker Report. Peace.
Good night, folks.
Have a good night.